Hi,
Hey,
I'm Jel.
I'm Rae.
That's Lottie and Coco. Let's go cruising.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Put this on my lap. I'm not talking about your booty.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the girls again. Lottie's getting bullied at home.
Poor thing. She's
No, she's
outnumbered.
fine. She's fine. But my mom is dog sitting Evie. A little scrappy.
What is she?
I don't know much. I think she's a schnauzer.
I think she's a rat terrier.
Definitely schnauzer. Her hair is definitely schnauzer and it's gray, but she's small and she probably has like maybe rat terrier or maybe I don't know exactly what she is. She's a schnauzer mutt. She's a bitch. I like her. I do. I got mad respect for her. I know she doesn't let anything mess with her, but she's picking on Lottie and it's not cool, man. It's not cool. Her and Chilindrino, man. Another little scruffy, little scrappy, squeaky thing.
Little pip squeak.
Yes. They gang up on her. They gang up on her today because she was just trying to talk to her dad, Kyle. And they came out of nowhere and
I like how you say
they backed into the shadows of the tables. They did. They did because they came up, barked at her from both sides, and she was like
the hell?
Hey, and she turned around and was moping away, and they both went back into under the table.
They're like little eels.
They are.
Little scruffy eels.
No, they can't touch anybody. They can't touch my mom, especially. Nobody can touch my
They
mom.
can barely touch each other.
Yeah, so I was like, give them a break. Take them with me. They like rides anyway.
Yeah, they like going cruising with us.
They do. They love going cruising. Every time I'm like, you want to go for a... And they both perk up and look at me.
They did.
They just did. Coco tilts her head from side to side, like, what?
She did a little
What?
bit behind
What?
you.
She
I saw her ears move.
She knows we're talking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, want to go for a...
but we are in
And I'll drag it, and they'll be staring at me like, say it. And I'm like, you want to go for
You jerk.
nap?
We're like, what?
Yeah.
No, we don't want siestas.
No, and I'm like, okay, you want to go for a ride? They're out the door already. They're done. They're already ready. They love it.
Which, low-key, going into news, I saw this article on Facebook, and it was this guy, I guess, who went missing when he was a teenager, and he went missing 8 years ago, and I think he's 25 now or something like that, give or take. I don't know, he was reported missing a while back, but they found him, and upon finding him, though, he was only 8 miles away from home. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was only 8 miles away from home, and he wants nothing to do with his mom. He's got some mental things going on,
So was he kidnapped, or did he get, try to run away?
That's what they don't know. They don't know what really happened.
Say?
Not really. Every time people try to talk to him, he goes into the fetal position. And he just doesn't want any contact with his mom.
That's terrible.
I'm like, what happened? And some people, I read in one article,
Or did the parents have something to do with it?
I don't know. Because some people were saying they were surprised he was reported missing because they saw him around the neighborhood, and then other people who would say I hadn't, family members saying I haven't seen him in I don't know how long.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of unrelated, but Kyle's told me that if you want to disappear, the place you go is Tokyo, because Tokyo is so even though it's small, it's so massive, and there's just so many people that you won't run into the same person twice.
Yeah, there's no way.
And I guess people family members there would disappear either from malicious reasons, somebody kidnapped them or whatever, or just because that they dishonored their family, so they just dip, but they'll be living 2 houses down or down the street or whatever, and they have no idea that he's there.
Oh
or
my
that person is there because it's just so many. I don't know. I could be saying it wrong. I'm not sure, but that's what he told me.
I mean, it makes sense though, because I mean, it is a very vastly populated area, for sure.
Like they would have no idea that like Uncle Greg just moved to. I don't know that.
I mean, my family wouldn't think to look in Tokyo if I just up and decided to disappear.
Yeah, like it's just
who would think?
But it's interesting to know like that happens.
Like, I don't think even though you're telling me this now, that if I up and disappeared somewhere like next year, I don't think you would think that I went to Tokyo.
No. I would just now I would because you said so, but
I'm not planning.
I'd hunt you down. I'd eventually find you.
Girl, you know I would tell you. You would be the only one I would make contact with.
Your ass down. I know you would too.
Oh, 100%. I'd find you in a day.
Yeah, if I ever got kidnapped or if I'd be like, I'm fine. Rachel will be here soon.
You'll be all filing your nails. The guys will be like,
you're gonna be so sorry.
Yeah. How you were just looking at you, you're like, you're gonna be so sorry, bro. Like, aren't you freaking out, like, on the inside? No. You should be, though.
Nah, bitch.
But you,
because my bitch is gonna be good. No.
She is gonna feast on your organs and make you watch.
Oh, man.
Which, speaking of, I was being dumb yesterday and just like, I don't know what I was doing. What was I doing? I don't know. I looked
work?
up.
Or
No.
you mean after work?
This was after work, I think. I don't know. But,
like slaves.
Yes. Oh, I ended up looking up a movie called, Bone Tomahawk. Have you heard of that?
No.
Oof. So it's got Kurt Russell. It's got Patrick Wilson and a couple other famous people in there. And I didn't watch the movie. I just heard that. Oh yeah, it was a thing on Facebook, like 12 most gruesome scenes in Hollywood or whatever. And this was one of the top for sure.
Have you seen it?
No, I'm not going to. Cause
what is it?
So it's a movie basically based in the West, and something happens where like this tribe, I guess, again I haven't seen the movie, but this cannibalistic tribe, you know, creepy. Starts taking some people here and there, kidnapping, I don't know exactly. Yeah, oh yeah. And sometimes they just imprison them, and so that way they could save them for later, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So a couple people, like this one guy, I think Patrick Wilson's family, he was originally injured, and I think Kurt Russell or something went to see his wife, who was like again, I haven't seen the movie, but she's like a doctor or something in that time, and she was trying to help him. Point being, the family and his son got kidnapped. Yeah. By these cannibalistic Indians. I believe. They, either way, they go looking for them and they find the Indians, and there's a very gruesome scene, this specific one that I just looked up, because it's easier for me to read something and imagine it as opposed to watch it on the freaking screen. Oh. And woof, girl. Well, they show you everything.
Of them just devouring a person?
Not even. No, they don't even eat him.
But
they basically fillet him. So
alive?
Okay, trigger warning and spoiler alert. If you don't want me to give away the movie, then
yeah,
fast forward. And if you are very squeamish when it comes to
like
very
Rachel
gruesome scenes, yes, I am. But if you're really squeamish and you just don't like thinking about that stuff, fast forward, okay?
I'll give you the willies.
Alrighty, so in this scene, Kurt Russell and a few other dudes get caught by these Indians.
They get got.
Yeah, they get got since they're getting them one by one. And so they take them and they imprison them, but one of the deputies they get, and in front of Kurt Russell and this other dude, they scalped him, shoved his scalp into his mouth, and then they flipped him over so his skull was like touching the ground. Ooh. Mind you, he's alive. Oh. And then with the tomahawk, and he's stripped naked. And with the tomahawk, they bisected him right down the crotch, right down the middle, and then they split him.
Oh. Ooh.
Again, I didn't watch it, but I saw like little bits and pieces on YouTube, and
image.
yeah.
Wow.
And the director, basically, from what I read, yeah, girl, I'm a little
Really?
queasy. I'm a little queasy. But the director was saying that he didn't want to sweeten it. He didn't want to put it to the audience's imagination with shadows.
And you know what's sad is that was reality of
Yeah.
life back then. That's what happened. That's what
Oh,
they did.
yeah.
That's what they
They were
did.
gruesome. Not
Because
all
there-
of them, obviously.
No. But,
certain tribes
but there
were
were
very
some
gruesome.
tribes that were cannibalistic.
And even...
or just to
in
kill
general.
somebody.
No, just in general. People can be very brutal.
Serial killers do shit like that.
Like, we're not just talking
Whoa.
about tribes. I'm just saying. I have
yeah.
Native American blood too, but at the same time, like, oh my god, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I hope they're just all as squeamish as I am right now.
Oh wow.
I'm probably okay. Today we're still on art subject.
We just skip right into
You know,
it.
blood and gore art. Sometimes it's used in art. Sometimes it is.
Dude, people do. People like draw with blood or they paint with blood. It's crazy.
And you know what? This story that I want to tell is probably kind of well known, but it will give you willies.
Oh.
It does for me. But maybe it's because I just feel it on a empathetic level, and because this person I want to talk about is very inspirational to me and is for a lot of people. But yeah, it's gonna make you feel like that a couple times, I'm not gonna lie. So warning. I'm sorry, but it's part of the life that is
The artist.
yes, the tragic artist.
So who are we talking about?
You want to
here?
guess?
I don't know. I have a few thoughts
It's an
in my
artist.
mind.
She's a straight up artist.
Is it Frida?
Frida Kahlo.
Yeah!
Frida freaking Kahlo.
I know you. I only know like so much of her since she is so well known.
Which I'm sure a lot of people do because she is well known and she is a major icon.
I've researched like a little bit about her, but that was like years ago.
But Kyle hasn't even heard of her.
What?
He's never heard of her.
What?
Yeah, well, leave my white boy alone. He didn't even know who Sina Quintanilla was either. So he watched the movie, he understands, he hears the music,
But
he knows
Frida, I'm not saying he needs to know about her. She's everywhere. She's in taco stands.
Well, when I showed him pictures and like a picture of her, he was like, "Oh yeah," he's recognized her, but he had no idea who that was or what it was.
See, now that's fair. I thought he just had no idea in general. Like,
I know his little name's Patrick, but he doesn't actually live under the rock.
He could be Patricio. I mean, by all means.
He is now Gallo
Patricio.
But yeah, he didn't know who that was. Like, he doesn't know who that is. Like,
and a lot of people don't.
No. She, wow, what a revolutionary. Talk about a revolutionary person.
Which is an appropriate transition into our roots theme coming up.
It is next week.
Yep.
We got another one coming up.
What are we gonna pick? A lot of research to do.
Ooh, I'm excited for that one too.
Woof.
So, but this kind of ties into my roots.
It does.
And out of curiosity, I guess how do you feel when you look at Frida's art? What does she make you feel? Like, what do you think? Like, and how, like, what are your opinions, or not opinions, but what are your thoughts about her in general and her art?
I would have to see her art right now, honestly.
You don't have anyone in mind, really? Maybe it's because I've been looking at it and I look at them all the time. But
yeah.
Okay, so
because off the top of my head, I can't, like, I know so many other artists too, but it's, no pun intended, it's all blending together.
Is it acrylic or oil that's being blended?
That's oil.
That's oil.
That's oil.
Well, another transition, Frida used oil on canvas, or oil on, some of them were wood.
Oh.
But her medium of style was oil. She used oil paint for a lot of it. She didn't start out to be an artist at first.
What did she start out to be?
She wanted to be a physician.
Interesting.
That was her whole goal in school. But I'll get into that in a minute. Let's talk about her art for a second.
She was too cool for school, from what it sounds like.
Oh, this poor bitch. You have no idea.
Oh man, I have a little bit, but let's have you go into detail.
This poor bitch.
And we say that with love.
Yes. Bitch is like queen to us. Unless it depends on what you did. Then I'm calling you bitch for a different reason.
It depends on the tone.
But this bitch queen suffered a lot. But let's talk about her art. So at the beginning of her career, she used a lot of influences from the Renaissance and European styles. Okay. So she would do like, she's most famous for her self-portraits. I was gonna say, wasn't she like more realism and stuff? That was later. Okay. When she first started painting, a lot of it was the European influence. So it was very like traditional. Like she would paint like her family and stuff, and they would sit in like those poses where they have the clasped hands. Or was she just getting started? That was she was very young at this point. Maybe probably in her like late teens into 20s. Okay. If that, like, so that's when she started painting. Again, I'll get into her story in a second. We're just talking about her art right now. Yeah. But later in life, she started to adapt the inspirations from Mexican folk art, elements of fantasy, naivety, and the fascination of violence and death. So she would paint like very gory scenes, and some of it would entail with blood, or like a lot of it was internal. So like there were paintings that it's of herself, but like you could see inside her body, or like organs or figuratively. Organs, or sometimes figuratively. It was a blend of both. Like you can it'll be like her heart, and then you can see like there's a deer inside, or that's where the surrealism and the realism would kind of blend together. Her art was very complex like that, though. Okay. And she and a lot of the styles that she developed was like the reality with the surrealistic elements, but that depicted her pain and just death. So a lot of it was very if you look at it, it'd be like, holy shit, that's a graphic scene. But I know you're gonna get into it, but how she felt inside. I know you're gonna get into it, but I have so many questions right now. Just wait. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, it is. This is just her art that I'm talking about. You just got started. Yeah, but she was also very influenced by the Mexicanidad, a very romantic nationalism that had developed after in the aftermath of the revolution, the Mexican Revolution. Okay. And with that, a lot of it was just like symbolism of like the resistance against the mindset of cultural integrity created by the colonism. So during her time, there was a lot going on, especially in Mexico with the revolution. A lot of like new ideals of there was communism all over the place too, so a lot of it had heavy influences on her. So she was very involved. She was an activist. Very involved with a lot of politics. I do recall that. So it was in her art. A lot of it was in her art. And there was a quote that she said, I wish to be worthy with my paintings of the people to whom I belong and the ideas which strengthen me. So she cultivated an image of herself and she claimed herself to be a self-taught artist, naive artist. She was an artist. She was a self-taught naive artist. That's what she called herself. She claimed that she was naive. Okay. In her art. And you can definitely see, it was very interesting because I was obviously looking at all of her pictures and the paintings that she's done. You can still see the drastic evolution of her paintings. Yeah. It's like watching mine. How you've showed me. All of mine from childhood to now. Yeah. Very different. And it's all styles that I've tried, and it's all things that I've tried to experiment with. True artist. Can you roll down the windows? It's hot. Tanks. Before I throw my tantrum again. The girls too, they can't breathe. Look at them, poor things. See, look, they were just my kids are drama too. The abuse. Yeah, they endure, I know. Anyway, so a lot of her paintings often feature root imagery. So roots would come from her body, and it would tie her down to the ground. And a lot of that reflects on a positive note, it would reflect personal growth, but in a negative standpoint, it means being trapped. So in some of her art, like there's one where she is she's wearing like a rooted necklace, and it's her self-portrait from the waist up, and she has roots on her chest, and it's like a necklace. And like there's other ones where she's like her foot is part of the tree, or like she has roots coming out from inside her that's like literally anchoring her to the ground.
She sounds quite grounded.
What makes you say that? But
she's got roots, man.
She's literal, and some of them would represent her roots in her own like culture.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Roots.
Which again, I'll get into that in a second. And a lot of the trees that she has in her painting serve as a symbol of hope, strength, and community, which is also kind of similar to like her family. And she does a lot with her hair in her paintings.
Oh, really?
Like, there's a couple where her hair is down, or it's always up in the braids, and that was the classic way to wear your hair. But there's one where her hair is chopped off.
Oh.
And that is a symbol of her growth and femininity.
Interesting. Okay.
And a lot of her art wasn't just from her life, and like we were just saying earlier, it had a lot of the political standpoint and like the society and conflicts that was happening all over the world, especially in Mexico.
Yeah.
And
she expressed herself.
So a lot of her art always made people like she didn't. I think her goal. She was obviously expressing herself, but she made people question what was in the art. Like a lot of questions would be raised up, like, what is it to be Mexican? Modern yet pre-Columbian, young yet old, anti-Catholic yet Catholic, Western yet New World, developing yet underdevelopment, independent yet colonized, mestizo yet Spanish or not Indian. You're, it's very separate, but yet. And I kind of get that on a personal standpoint, because like I've heard this phrase before, and it's so true. Like, I'm not Mexican enough for my Mexicans, but yeah, I'm not white enough for my white. And that's kind of the conflicted feelings you would feel with her art.
I can understand that.
And that's how she felt within herself. Like I'm this and yet not that.
Yeah.
Yet they say I'm this, but I'm not that.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that at some point or another. You know, like
definitely.
Yeah. So it has a lot more meaning to than just the
it's deep.
Than just her like, oh, that's weird. Her surrealism, you know.
Yeah.
And then she would often use animals in her paintings, like in like symbols, skulls, blood, skeletons, and hearts, and a lot of other things that she would use, like, you know, aspects of Aztec mythology, and she would depict opposites, life and death, male, female, Mexican, European. There was always something in there that was an opposite to each other.
Yeah, extraordinary.
And a lot of the art that I found was from the FridaKahlo.org, and it showed just like a list of her artwork, and it's of the artwork with the name of the title of the piece and everything.
Nice, okay.
So that's what I was looking at before. And a quote that came up was, she said, my paintings carries with it a message of pain. This lady had a lot of pain.
And she expressed it through her art.
That was the only way she can.
Wow.
That was her outlet. That was her way of feeling better. Oh. Just like a true artist, that's what I do. I feel better after I write or after I draw. Like,
I feel better after I play the piano.
When you feel something passionate, whether it be love, anger, sadness, just betrayed, whatever, a lot of people use it in their art. You can see it. Let's get back to the beginning with Frida. So Frida, her full name was Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo y Calderon.
Okay.
She was born on July 6th, 1907. in Coacahan, Mexico City.
Look at that. Her birthday was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday, Frida!
Happy late
Feliz
birthday,
cumpleaños!
Frida!
Awesome. That's really
Yeah, that's ironic.
the universe speaking, man.
Look at that.
And again, she was a Mexican painter known for her self-portraits, and her artwork was inspired by nature and artifacts of Mexico. And she was also known for her painting about her experience of her chronic pain.
I do recall this.
She was a true surrealist and a magical realist. So she was born to a German father named Guillermo Kahlo, and her mother was a mestiza mother, Mathilde Calderon. Mestiza is like the Mexican Indian.
Okay.
Yeah, especially for that time, that's what they referred themselves as. Like, and they were half like the Mexican, as in the sense of half Mexican European descent.
Okay.
And Indian descent. So
like Native American or Native Mexican descent.
Yeah, a Native American, will say, mixed with European.
Yeah, in that comparison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what that really kind of means. So that's her mother. And she had sisters. She had 3 sisters. Matilde, Adriana, and Cristina. And she had 2 half-sisters from Guillermo's first marriage. So she had 2 half-sisters. But she had 3 sisters. Cristina was closest to her.
Okay.
They were, at least it seems like they were the closest out of the other 3. She'll come back later. But at a very young age, Frida was disabled by polio as a child, and she was about 6 years old. And she didn't go to school for a long time. She was homeschooled by her dad.
Okay.
And she had a really good relationship with her dad.
Guillermo.
But when she did go to school, she was a promising student, and she excelled in reading, and she was just really smart. So she was good at it. She was good at school. But because of her disabilities and stuff, she would get bullied.
Yeah.
And
kids are cruel.
Yeah. So she would get made fun of a lot. And along those lines too, like, because she was bullied, she gravitated towards her father a little bit more, because he would try to help her, and he was very encouraging to her.
Okay.
So he would try to help her, cope with the bullying and stuff.
That's reassuring.
So they spent a lot of time together. And Frida had described the atmosphere of her childhood as very, very sad.
Aww.
Unfortunately, both parents were often sick, so they were always in the room. Mm-hmm. So the kids probably didn't know what to do, and they were just probably left unsupervised. I don't know. This is just me speculating.
Okay.
And the marriage was just devoid of love. So they didn't really love each other, but they were together, which sucks. And Frida's relationship with her mother was a rocky one. They were very tense. They would butt heads. She described her mother as, quote, kind, active, intelligent, but also calculating, cruel, and fascinatingly religious.
Okay.
So she kind of sounds like, I'm going to go old school, she sounds like a typical Mexican mom.
I was going to say, I know a couple people like that.
Who's just very religious, by the book. Behave or I'll throw my chancla at you.
Very old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean she didn't love her mother or anything. They just never connected.
Those mothers are stern. Mine's like that.
Doesn't mean you don't love your mom.
Yeah, I adore my mother.
But so they had a hard relationship growing up. But Frida, like I said, was very close to her father, who helped her with the bullying, the isolation that she would endure. And because of her disability, he was a very sickly man too, so they kind of bonded over their disabilities.
I see.
So there was that too. Lottie, don't lick your leg. Stop. Sorry. And it was kind of obvious. I don't think it's ever really said in the house, but it's said that she's his favorite child. But because they were so similar.
Yeah.
And
they spent so much time together.
He was an artist too.
Well, there you go. They bonded a lot.
So she, quote, this is her quoting her about her dad. Quote, "Marvelous. He was an immense example to me of tenderness, of work. He was a photographer, also a painter, and above all, an understanding of my problems."
I see.
So he taught her literature, nature, philosophy, and encouraged her to play sports and try to regain her strength through exercise, even though it was, quote-unquote, unsuitable for girls, at the time.
Yeah.
But he encouraged it. He encouraged her rebelliousness, either way. So he probably has a lot to do with her rebelliousness that she has.
I feel just like old school parents, though, also have just like those natural remedies. Like, no, you gotta get up, you gotta move, you gotta do something.
He also taught her about photography, so she would help him like retouch stuff and develop pictures and color photographs. So at a young age, he was already kind of like messing with the elements of artistic.
Nice. She was dabbling in it.
Yeah. In 1922, Frida was accepted to go to the National Preparatory School, where she focused on nature and science, and she was aiming to be a physician. Again, that was her goal. She wanted to be a physician.
She wanted to make her parents proud.
And there, she was one of 35 girls out of 2,000 students.
Wow.
Frida was a ferocious reader, and she became deeply immersed and seriously committed to Mexican culture. This is where she started appreciating all of her Mexican culture. Oh, by the way, her dad, pretty sure, well, both parents were Jewish. She came from a Jewish home.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. I didn't know that either.
Wow.
But I almost forgot that. She's Jewish.
Wow.
She was also involved with political activism, and she was very involved with the issues of the social injustice that was going on. And the school promoted and encouraged kids who were of mixed race, especially of like the Indian aspects to the Mexican Indian aspects of them, to participate. Like they wanted to like be like, no, you're part of this. So they encouraged that heritage that they had, which she had. She had that heritage. So she was very involved with that, and she wanted to help encourage that, like, we're people too.
Yeah.
So she was very part of that, and she was so influenced that she had created a group of 9, and she called this group the Cachuchas.
Yeah.
And they became, many of them in that group, because they were active in the, like, activism and stuff like that, a lot of them became leading figures of the Mexican intellectual elite.
Okay.
So they all became very political.
We know how that goes.
And they were rebellious against everything, so her and her little band of cachuchas, they would pull pranks, and they would stage plays, and they debated philosophy and Russian classics. So they were just going around like being menaces, in a sense. But they were fighting. They were being rebellious revolutionaries, young people who were like fighting for their rights, and that's what they did. So that was their way of being part of it.
That's why Latinos are prideful.
Very much so. And to mask the fact, this was interesting. To mask the fact that she was older, she would declare herself a daughter of the revolution. So she began saying that her birthday was July 7th, 1910, the year of the Mexican Revolution began.
Huh.
Which
would be today.
Which was only a couple of years off, but she would say that was her birthday. I was born in 1910 instead, just to make it sound like she was a true revolutionary.
Yeah.
And the daughter of the revolution. That's what she called herself. And one of the leaders of the group was Frida's first love. And his name was Alejandro Gomez Ayres.
Oh.
And around this time, she's a teenager. They're both teenagers. So they would sneak off with each other, you know,
and do teenage things,
you know, teeth things, maybe. The relationship was definitely not approved by her parents.
Of course not.
So they were often kept separated, so they would just meet up in secret.
It's like a Romeo and Juliet thing.
Exactly, and it was very passionate, and they would send love letters to each other and everything. So she was all over this kid, and he was all over her.
No.
So this brings me to the accident.
Oh no.
Which, okay, do you know of her chronic pain that she has? Do you know why?
Didn't she get run over by a bus or something?
Oh, close. No, this is what happened. So September 17th, 1925, Frida and Alejandro, they had just gone off of school and they were on their way home. So they were they take the bus. So there they go. They're coming out of school and she's like, oh shit, Alejandro, I forgot my books or her bag or whatever. So they had to go back in and they missed that bus. And then they came back out and they came to a second bus. And on this bus that they got was extremely crowded. Probably over the max limit of people that should be on a bus.
Oh, man.
So it was very crowded, and they went and sat in the back of the bus. And this bus driver, he was driving, and you know how like here in Denver we have the light rails?
Yeah.
There was a streetcar, like an electric streetcar, coming up, and he was trying to beat it.
Jesus.
And so the bus driver tried to beat the streetcar, and they came on, and it crashed. And the streetcar crashed on the side of the bus, and it dragged it a few feet.
Oh!
It hit it so hard. Several passengers died in the accident. Alejandro suffered minor injuries, but Frida, on the other hand, Frida had been impaled by an iron handrail that went through her pelvis.
Oh!
She kind of jokes that like it took her virginity.
Oh my God!
She jokes. She wasn't a virgin.
But still,
yeah,
no.
That's what she said. That's what she would say.
The image.
And it went through her pelvis.
Oh my God.
So her pelvis bone was fractured. Her abdomen and uterus had been punctured by the rail.
Oh my God.
Her spine broke in 3 places.
You didn't give a trigger warning.
Trigger warning, sorry. I said it at the beginning. I'm not done yet. Her right leg was broken in 11 places. Her right foot had been crushed and dislocated. Her collarbone was also broken, as well as her shoulder, which was dislocated.
Oh my God. She already has polio.
And apparently, when the accident happened, Alejandro and some others pulled the rod out. They removed it to thinking that they're helping her.
Oh my God, I'm gonna puke.
Which was incredibly painful for her.
Oh no shit!
Okay. That's payback for your story, man.
I told you like 5 seconds. You kept going.
I warned you before this whole thing that it was gonna be very. And this is just the beginning. There's more that's gonna happen to her.
Oh, I'm gonna puke.
I told you, trigger warning for all of it, man.
Oh my God.
This was her life. This was her life, man. Okay.
Oh.
So she described the pain as, quote, the way a sword pierces a bull.
Oh.
She spent 1 month in the hospital and 2 months in recovery at home.
Oh.
And during this time, I think Alejandro had gotten accepted into another school, so he broke up with her while she was recovering. And
Now her heart is broken.
I wish you guys could see her face journeys. Oh man.
Oh.
I'll let that marinate for a second. I'll take a drink.
Oh my God. Marinate? That just poisoned me. Oh my God. I'm nauseous.
This poor bitch continued to experience fatigue and back pain, and her doctors revealed by x-rays, this was a little after she got home, mind you, the doctors revealed by x-rays that the accident had displaced 3 vertebrae. And as treatment, Lottie, she's fine. It's okay. She's all licking her. She's okay. Stop it. As treatment, she had to wear a plaster corset.
Yeah.
Which was confined to her, for 3 months. And she had to be in bed rest for 3 months.
Oh. Oh.
Obviously, unfortunately, the accident did stop her from becoming a physician. She couldn't go to school.
Oh.
She couldn't finish. And all of their bills went to the doctors.
Oh, the irony.
So So, as a result, she was just stuck, and that was kind of the start of her, like,
My uterus
FML.
hurts. Oh.
Yeah, writing this was part of the willies that I was telling you earlier that I was getting.
Oh, you gave them to me now.
Yeah, she makes me hurt when I, like, think about it, and, like, some of the pictures you see, it makes me hurt. It makes my body physically hurt. Like, I feel like, oh man, that's how she felt. God damn, like, oh, it makes me, it gives me willies for how much pain she was in. I can't even imagine. And some people, you know what's sad? Some people are in pain like that constantly,
I'm so
24/7.
Sorry, like, oh my god,
that sucks. just having a conniption over there. So fortunately, her bed rest was over by the late 1927. And then she started socializing again. She still had friends from her school, you know, but now they were at university and they were involved in politics and stuff. So she was just kind of like, they're moving on. She's backing out again, but she kind of had to find something else to do, you know, like, so she joined the Mexican Communist Party.
Okay.
And she was introduced into a circle of political artists and activists. So that's where her circle started. So she was involved with this circle for the rest of her life. So she was always around artists. She was always around activists, including an exiled Cuban named Julio Antonio Mella and an Italian-American photographer. Her name was Tina Madotti. I don't know. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm still coming down from the impalement.
So during this time, she would go out to parties with them and hang out with them. Oh, I forgot to mention. Sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit. But during her bed rest, that's when she started painting.
Okay.
And
how could you forget that?
I know. I was keeping going. Sorry. But yeah, so that's when she started painting. She would paint the plaster corset that she had on. So
Isn't that displayed somewhere?
In the museum. I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so she would paint her corset. Every time she got a new one, she'd just repaint it. She'd paint, butterflies. Her mom bought her an easel for the bed. Uh-huh. So she had a little bed easel so she could paint while she was laying down. Her father bought her oil paints.
Nice.
And then later, which is a very symbolic thing in her painting and just her in general, they put a mirror on top of her bed so she can see herself, and that's when she was starting her self-portraits.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, because she was confined. She had to lay down. She couldn't move for 3 months.
Jesus.
I can't even imagine that.
I don't want to. I'm sorry.
One of her earliest paintings was a self-portrait, and it's called A Velvet Dress, and this was in 1926, and it was considered to be one of her first professional paintings, and it was a starting point of her career. And it's her in this red dress, and there's dark waves behind her, and she's portraying herself as like in a regal position, very European style.
Yeah.
But and she's in that, like, she's tilted to the side. She has her hands clasped, and she has her red dress on, and behind her is very, very dark. I can see the picture in my head. I'm trying to describe it to you. I feel like I've seen this picture. And behind her, like I said, it's waves. It looks like ocean waves, and the background's a mix of like grays and like dark grays. It's very gray behind her. So the focal point is obviously her dress.
Yeah.
That was one of her first paintings. It was very solemn. It looks like a very solemn painting.
Okay.
And that's probably just the surface of how she was feeling. That's how I see it, especially for this being one of her first, quote unquote, professional portraits that she's done.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a lot more, and during this time too, she was painting a lot of like her mom, her dad, because it's all who she talked to. She did consider for a brief moment, I should say, that she wanted to be a medical illustrator and combined her two interests of science and art. But painting became a way for her to explore and question the identity of existence.
Mm-hmm.
She explained, quote, "I paint myself because I am often alone, and I am the subject I know best."
Okay, that's fair.
And so she stated that the accident made her desire to begin again and to paint things that she saw them for her through her own eyes and nothing more.
Beautiful.
So she was, it was a very, I wouldn't be surprised for something traumatic like that. It's an eye-opener regardless.
Yeah.
If you want it to be or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is your uterus okay?
It's okay now.
So, like I mentioned before, Tina Modotti's, one of her parties in 1928, Frida was introduced to someone who will be a very big part of her life.
Okay.
Diego Rivera.
Yep, I know.
I'm sure you know about this fool, right?
I've heard
a lot of
things.
people know about this fool. That's where she met Diego, was at Tina's party.
Okay.
Because he's part of the activist/artist circle. Very big part of it. So of course she would meet Diego, the womanizer.
Ugh.
Oh man. Just because I'm gonna try to say his whole name.
Just because.
Just because. I might butcher it because it's really long. Are you ready? Diego María de la Concepción Juan Neopomuceno Estanislao de la Rivera y Barrientos Acosta y Rodríguez.
Not bad, but Jesus.
AKA Diego Rivera.
What a birth certificate.
He was born December 8th, 1886.
If you heard that, that was thunder.
Thunder. He helped establish the mural movement, and between 1922 and 1953, he painted murals in Mexico City, San Francisco, Detroit, and New York City.
Nice.
He began drawing at the age of 3. This is what I found interesting. He did have a twin brother, Carlos, who passed away. And when Carlos died, he was caught drawing on walls. His parents caught him just drawing on the walls, and
just going ape.
Yeah. And instead of freaking out, they put chalkboards on the walls for him and encouraged him to continue to draw.
I like that.
So I thought that was very interesting. Hey, what are you doing, dude? Full body. She blinked something out of her mouth. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So Diego was a very influential man during his time. Like I said, he was very involved in art and politics and the revolution. Mm-hmm. So he was a very, very big part of that. A lot of his art also depicts the political aspects of Mexico, and he was just very passionate about his culture.
I mean, he was married 4 times.
Twice to Frida.
Jesus.
So when Frida met Diego, they were flirting, and she asked him, can you come check out my work? You want to see if it's professional enough?
He's not even appealing.
It's his charisma.
I guess.
It's his charisma. I mean, that's how it is with any, I guess, no offense, but this is how it is for ugly boys. Some of them are, butt ugly, and you're like, girl, why are you talking to this fool? And you're like,
he treats me right.
He's a silver tongue, and he knows how to use it.
All right.
It's usually what happens. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You're not.
That's usually what, and ergo that had to have been he was very charismatic. He just knew how to talk to women. And he was an artist, and probably back then a lot too. Like in Golden Girls, When all three of them were all obsessed with the artist, and they all thought he was
Yeah.
sexy as hell.
It was his charisma.
It was his charisma, and like how he said, they think because you can work a piece of art, you can work a woman into fits of ecstasy.
Yeah.
That's probably what was going on with Diego.
Probably. Okay.
Honestly,
All right.
that's how I would look at it, because he is not. He's he's not attractive. Something about him was, obviously, because there was a lot of women. It was a lot.
Ugh.
So anyway, when they met, she asked him to come see her art, and like she wanted to know if they were actually worth the talent and to pursue the career of an artist. She wanted to see, like, are they even worth it? Mm-hmm. And Rivera recalled stating, quote, an unusual energy of expression, precise delication of character, and a true severity. They had a fundamental plastic honesty and artistic personality of their own. It was obvious that this girl was an authentic artist.
Well,
That's what he said about her.
quite a compliment.
Mm-hmm. So he saw she was very talented. She had raw talent, which I think is rare.
Yeah.
So when Frida and Diego soon began a relationship, mind you, he's 21 years her senior, and he had 2 common-law wives at the time that they met.
Of course he did.
So they got married on August 21st, 1929, and her parents referred to them as, quote, a marriage between an elephant and a dove.
I've heard that.
Because he's a hefty guy.
Yeah.
He's not attractive. His eyes are really far apart. He looks
Like a toad.
He does look like a teal and an elephant. And she, because she's so, like, she is beautiful in her own way as well.
Yeah.
And she was so fragile with all of her injuries. I hear you. Her mom definitely didn't approve of the relationship, and she was just not for it. Her dad, like, he was like, ew, yeah, it's an elephant.
Ew.
But he didn't not approve of it because of finances. He was like, hey, you can take care of my daughter, and if you want to take care of her bills, her doctor bills, cool.
Then go for it.
Yeah. So he was like, whatever, as long as she's taken care of. Like, he didn't really care. So, yeah, the elephant and the dove. That's where I'm going to leave you off right now. Because I have a lot more. So we're going to have to do a second part for Frida.
Yeah, I mean, for an elephant, you need a lot more time.
Sorry. But there's a lot.
Yeah, like I said, he's the elephant.
There's a lot to her life, and I can only get so far today. But yeah, we'll pick up on her next week. I know we said we were going to do our culture thing next week, but we're going to be pushing it because I need another part.
Yep. This is your first 2-parter.
All dedicated to, it is my first 2-parter. All dedicated to Frida.
There you go.
Kahlo.
There you go.
So yeah, we'll just leave it off right there. So you can just follow us on Let's Go Cruising podcast. Oh, by the way, when you look us up on YouTube, you need to look us up as Let's Go Cruising podcast with Jel, Jel, and Rae, Rae.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've kind of realized that's what you need to do to come find us, but just come look us up on YouTube at Let's Go Cruising with Jel and Rae podcast, and you can email us at Let's Go Cruising Podcast at Gmail. You can also find us on Instagram at Let's Go Cruising Podcast. So like and subscribe to all of those things. And if you like us, share us. That would be really cool, yeah?
Yeah, like us, love us, and watch us.
All right. Let's go cruising next time.
Bye.
Bye.